Well, hello everybody. Happy New Year. Super pumped and excited to have you here for the SprintSet Energizing Weight Loss webinar. I know you're an action taker because you're here already, day one of 2026. So congratulations to you for jumping all in and starting ahead of the crowd and working towards your health and wellness goals here. So give me just a moment and we will begin shortly. And feel free to jump over into the chat. Make sure that when you are in the chat, you put everyone so everyone can see you here. Because one of the things that I've learned from a long time ago is that the ones who are going to get the most out of this presentation here are the ones who engage. Think about it. Think about person A. Person A is thinking about going to the gym. Person A has their gym clothes on, they have their shoes by the door, and they're just thinking about it, but they never get off the couch to go to the gym. And think about person B. Person B has their clothes on, the shoes on, they're out the door, they're in their car, they're off to the gym. They're in the gym, they're working hard, they're moving, they're sweating, they're panting, they're doing the work. Who is going to get the most out of this, person A or person B? That's right, person B. And you are that person because I know that you're here. So let's go ahead and let's dive right in. And I'm really excited to share this information with you. This is information that you're not going to hear from any of your other doctors here. So I'm really, really excited to share it with you. And I am so confident that this information is powerful, but when you use it, when you apply this information to your life in 2026, people are going to be coming up to you and asking you, what have you done? Because you will have transformed. You're not going to change with this information. Transformation will happen because you've applied this knowledge here. So, really, really excited to have you here. So, give me just a moment. All right, so here we go. Welcome to SprintSet. It's an energizing weight loss system. This is all about reclaiming your health, your identity, and your life. So let's go ahead and then dive right in. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And remember, please put in the chat your questions and make sure you click on everyone. Okay? Make sure you click on everyone so that I can see your question. Otherwise, it might be hidden. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's begin. So, by a show of hands, obviously, click the hands up if you know somebody who has heart disease. Hands up. Hands up if you know somebody who has heart disease. Hands up if you know somebody who has cancer. Hands up if you know somebody who've had a stroke. Hands up if you know somebody who has diabetes. Hands up if you know somebody who has Alzheimer's. Keep those hands up. If you were in a room when I do this talk to hundreds of people and I look around the room, everyone's hands are up. My question to you is, when is enough enough? So if you take a look at the amount of spending the United States has, they spend more money on healthcare than any other nation in the world. And recently, 2020, I looked up 4.1 trillion with a T trillion was spent on healthcare in 2020. We spend more money on healthcare than any other country in the world. Yet we rank 35th in the world in healthcare. WTF. This is unacceptable. Hands up if you agree with me. We spend more money on healthcare than any other nation, yet we rank 35th in the world in overall health. We have to take a deeper look into this and find the underlying root problem, because I think about this. How can a country that spends more than any other country in the world on healthcare be susceptible to COVID-19 and other diseases? What are we not seeing? What are we not connecting here? People have never been sicker. Obesity, it's the linchpin to chronic disease. The treatment of chronic disease accounts for 86% of our $4.1 trillion healthcare burden. And I say healthcare in quotes because we don't have a healthcare system in the United States, do we? We have a what? That's right. We have a sick care system. And it's all about lifestyle. If we take a look at this chart right here, diabetes is exploding. Look at where it was in 1960s, and then look at the trends of where it is today. And diabetes is showing up early and earlier. They used to call type 2 diabetes adult onset diabetes. They had to rename it because children today are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. If you take a look at heart disease, this is the percentage of adults whose heart age is 5 or more years older than their actual age. So if you take a look, that's 40% of the nation and above. Some areas above 50%. Then if you take a look at cancer cases are exploding. And then now they're talking about turbo cancers these days. We spend more money than any other nation out there. We have the best technology than any other nation out there. We're giving people more drugs and more medicines than ever before. How come these chronic diseases of lifestyle keep exploding year after year when we spend more money and take more drugs? Look at the steady recorded and projected steep trend line of chronic disease in the US. People today are getting more and more chronic diseases. Yes or yes? You have either seen this in your own life or you've seen it in your family and your friends. I hear patients talking to me about this all the time. We should be frightened by this. Why is the United States citizen so susceptible against these attacks, more so than any time in our history? You have to ask yourself these tough questions. Pause and reflect. There are clues and there's correlations. There is a direct correlation between obesity, its related diseases, and immunity issues. Obesity is the hidden villain in all of this. Now, if you take a look at this, we see from 1985, we see how obesity is exploding across the United States, and it's even worse today. Geneticists tell us that the human genome has been nearly unchanged for the last 60,000 years. So anybody who is thinking that it's a gene problem, got to think again. This is not a gene problem. These trends have been happening since 1985. What is happening is more fast food, more processed food, more junk food, too much food. And this epidemic impacts all of us, whether we are obese or not, because of all the food and movement choices that we make. So I want you just to take a moment and ask yourself, are you setting yourself up for chronic disease right now? Are you doing any of these following? Just think about the time of the year. We're coming off of the holidays, and think about the holidays starting with Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and all these holidays. Eating sweets, too much sugar, we're overeating, snacking, we're stuck on the couch, we're not getting any sunlight, no movement, we're doom scrolling on our cell phones, we're not sleeping, we're stuck in negative thinking, we have the mentality of fear rather than faith, we're not getting out, we're feeling sad, lack of socialization, poor air quality, poor water quality, poor nutrition. We're coping with stress by drinking alcohol or leisurely drinking alcohol with our friends and family, or eating too much sugar. We're yelling at the kids. We're irritable. We're angry, short-tempered, and so much more. Does any of this apply to you? You see, all this stress that I just mentioned affects us at a cellular level. Ultimately, at the end of the day, disease shows up because of one or two reasons. Number one, we are toxic in the things that we don't need or want into our cells. Number two is we're deficient in the nutrients that our cells need to be healthy and well. Or I guess we could put number three, it's both. You're toxic in things that make your cells sick, and you're deficient in the nutrients necessary to help your cells be healthy. Are you with me with that? Comment yes in the chat box. And all that disruption, when we put the bad, so how health works is the good stuff goes into your cells. It helps stimulate the mitochondria, and that produces more ATP, and it produces more energy and more cellular health and recovery and resilient to all the stress. The DNA is the blueprint that tells your cells what to do. All that goodness goes in, and then the bad stuff needs to exit. However, because modern life is unnaturally stressful, and stress coming in the form of physical stress, mental emotional stress, and specifically chemical stress, the foods that we're eating, the things that we're drinking that are not in alignment with our ultimate health disrupt our hormones in our body. It impacts estrogen, thyroid, testosterone, cortisol, insulin, in every single hormone in your body. So if we are living a deficient and toxic lifestyle, our cells are going to become toxic and deficient, and therefore that toxicity and deficiency produces illness, signs, symptoms, disease, disability, and early death. Hands up if you know what I'm talking about here. It can lead to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, unregulated blood sugar levels, among other things in your body, leading to heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, stroke, and early death. This is what we call metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome isn't a disease, but a group of risk factors that increase your risk of several diseases. 5 risk factors are considered when diagnosing metabolic syndrome, but you only need 3 of these factors to be present for a positive diagnosis. Those 5 factors include high blood pressure, high fasting triglycerides. Triglycerides are the end product of digesting and breaking down fats in food. Low HDL cholesterol, that's the high density lipoprotein, also known as the good cholesterol. High fasting blood glucose, this is what's known as insulin resistant. and abdominal obesity. This is the visceral fat. This is the most dangerous fat all around your waist, surrounding your organs. Now, what are the consequences of unchecked metabolic syndrome? The complications of untreated metabolic syndrome and the conditions that it is made of are frequently serious and long-term. Here are some information you should know regarding this. People with metabolic syndrome have a risk of heart attack and stroke that is double the risk of people who do not have metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome increases the risk of developing diabetes by 5-fold. If diabetes develops, well, you may be at risk for eye damage, nerve damage, kidney disease, and the need to amputate limbs. Other issues that may develop include the hardening of arteries, so the calcification of your arteries, kidney disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and peripheral artery disease. Basically, when your body is operating under less than ideal conditions, like coping with high blood pressure or regulating inappropriate amounts of insulin, it doesn't have enough fight left in it to adequately protect itself from outside harm, things like viruses, germs, bacteria. Then you get all this chronic, low-grade inflammation that builds up over time, and it makes your body weaker and sicker, unable to function appropriately. Now, let's be brutally honest for a moment. You've been told to trust the system, to take the pill, to follow the advice, but look around you. Look around at your own life. For all the money, all the drugs, all the advances in modern healthcare, are we actually getting healthier? Or are we just getting sicker, more dependent, more frustrated than ever before? What do you think? You may have created excuses for not living your ideal healthy lifestyle. Look, I've been there. I understand these excuses. I've told myself before, I don't have time. My job doesn't make it possible, or I can't afford a healthy lifestyle, or I don't know how to be healthy. These are common excuses, but frankly, aren't real barriers that stand in the way of you being a healthy person. In reality, your excuses are only based around habits that you're afraid to break because you feel more comfortable when you are. So, all the excuses are hurdles for sure, but they don't have to be barriers. Let's dive in a little bit deeper here because you've heard the promises, you've tried the quick fixes, and deep down, you've probably told yourself a few of these comforting lies. Maybe it will just go away. You hoped that nagging pain, that extra weight, the constant fatigue would magically disappear if you ignored it long enough. How about it's not that bad? You may have minimized the warning signs like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor regulated blood sugar, and convinced yourself it was just a normal part of aging, that everyone must feel this way. Or maybe you've told yourself, yeah, I don't have the time because you prioritized everything and everyone else in your own life, letting your own health become an afterthought, a luxury you couldn't afford. Or maybe you thought, I don't have the money, it's too expensive. You convinced yourself that investing in your health was a financial burden, but you never thought that it's the most critical investment you could ever make. But here's the brutal truth. These aren't just innocent excuses. These are the chains that bind you to a future you don't want. They are stories you tell yourself that lead directly to more pain, more dependency, and ultimately a life far smaller than you deserve. But that's why you're here. That's why you're listening to this. because you see a bigger, brighter future you've been called to. And you're seeking some guidance, you're seeking some support, you're seeking ways to get there, a plan of action, some structure. You're looking for a system to help you get there. But let me tell you a little bit more about my story. As a chiropractor and a wellness doctor, I found myself off track from the very principles I preached to my patients. I looked in the mirror, I saw my clothes no longer fitting, and I knew I wasn't being the example my wife, Eros, and my children, Kalista and Kyson, deserved. More than that, a virus was attacking the weak and vulnerable. So this was back in 2020 that I'm talking about right here, when although, the virus that was attacking the weak and vulnerable, those with comorbidities like high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, I knew something had to change because here I am helping to teach people how to be healthy. And because of all the stress going on, I found myself eating things and overeating and getting off track here. And it had to change immediately. That's when I discovered SprintSet Energizing Weight Loss System. Before I recommend anything to my patients, I test it myself. I went all in and fully committed, and the results were stunning. In just 71 days, I shed 22 pounds. My metabolic age reversed, becoming younger than my chronological age. Inflammation plummeted, and I learned to cope with stress more effectively. I became a better husband, a better father, and a stronger leader in the clinic. I see the results in the mirror. I feel it in my clothes and embody it in my renewed strength and health. This system didn't just help me lose weight, it transformed my overall health. It transformed my mindset. Now, I can do what I want, when I want, with those that I want to do it with. My emotions are stable, no longer the roller coaster they once were. My relationships deepened. My performance in the gym skyrocketed. My body, mind, spirit are finally aligned. You see, I have a family history of heart disease and cancer. I'm proactive because I want to be present for my wife and children, and God willing, be strong, active, and healthy for my grandchildren. This wasn't just about me in these changes. It was about stepping into the man, the person I was called to be. And I want to tell you that I've seen this transformation in countless patients. They come to me because they're tired of seeing what happened to their aging parents. They're desperate to avoid the same path of disease and early death. They don't want to be a burden. They're facing milestone birthdays. They're ready for a new chapter after unhealthy relationships, or simply seeking an edge to their workouts and structure they could trust. They want healthier. They want to be healthier, live longer, live better, and perform optimally in all areas of their life. They're ready to change, and they want a doctor supervised guidance and accountability system. I mean, I have patients coming to me too that they just went to the medical doctor and they got a unfavorable uh, blood panel back. Something came up that's abnormal, or they just got a diagnosis and they don't want drugs. They don't want shots. They don't want surgery. And they're looking for natural, holistic ways. So we take care of busy professionals, people that have so much responsibility on their plate, and their business goes as they go. They know when, when you're up, your business is up. When you're down, your business is down. Or then the parents are looking to become more to their children, to have the energy and the presence to be able to engage with them outside of work, in their extracurriculars, with their homework, and so on and so forth. And the leaders who know that the investment in themselves is the best investment they can be making, because there's a ripple effect that impacts all the other people in their circle. You want structure and you want results. So you've heard my story, and maybe you've seen glimpses of your own struggles in it. You've tried the diets, you've tried to eat less, move more, and you probably felt like you're constantly fighting an uphill battle. The truth is That's because you've been playing the wrong game with the wrong rules. The old way, the diet, quote unquote, mentality is a trap. It's a temporary fix, a set of restrictions that leave you hungry, frustrated, and inevitably right back where you started, often heavier than before. And let's be clear about one thing: the solutions, quote unquote, offered by mainstream medicine often come with a hidden cost. Drugs, injections, surgeries, they all carry side effects, some mild, some severe, some known, some unknown, until months or even years down the road. It's a scary gamble, and frankly, people are tired of it. You're looking for a proven system that is effective and crucially all natural. This is why SprintSet involves no drugs, no injections, no surgeries. The old way asks you to do it alone, to solely rely on willpower, and then blames you when you fail. But what if I told you the problem isn't your willpower? And it's certainly not your fault. What if I told you the problem is the lack of a system? Today, we're conditioned to expect instant results, the magic bullet. But there is no magic bullet for sustainable weight loss. It took time for your body to get where it is today, and it takes time for it to heal and get better. Quick fixes might show rapid results, but they leave you stuck, unhealthier, and with more problems because they never teach you how to address the real underlying issues. SprintSet gets to the root cause and provides you with a systematic solution. How's that sound? Now, here are a few of our success clients here. On the far left of your screen, awesome guy, Jeff. He's a teacher in the community, fifth graders, now I think third grade he's teaching. And so he's got a lot on his plate these days and handling these kids and shaping the future of the leaders, future leaders here with the students. And as a teacher, you're getting pulled in many different directions. Even more today, I hear there's so much more on the plates of the teachers, more administrative work, and quite frankly, less of the teaching and why they even got in the profession in the first place. So it could be a constant battle, more meetings, more work, more to do, and your lifestyle could suffer because you don't just leave the school and your work stays at the school. No, you bring it home and there's grading and there's all this stuff. So Jeff knew he had a problem. He was off track and he needed a system. And Jeff, he crushed it. He lost 35 pounds in 71 days, and he's been doing great since. So he took the SprintSet approach, went all in, and the results have been stunning. And you take a look at Tarsha here. Hard to believe that she's a grandmother, but she's a grandmother. And she's a business owner. She owns two businesses and just was burning the candle at both ends, making everybody a priority, not seeing time or having time for herself, making unhealthy choices. And those unhealthy choices just started to add up. And she knew that she needed to make a change. And it just got to the point where enough was enough. And she decided that, all right, what's a SprintSet system? She went all in. She lost 25 pounds in 71 days. Her metabolic age decreased below her chronological age. She has more energy, more stamina, more endurance. Brain fog is gone. She's more productive at work and she's more present with her family. And Parker on the right hand side, he came to me when he was just about to turn 60. He was hitting another decade. And this is a time that most people think about their health too. It's New Year's and it's at your birthday. And so with Parker, he knew some things needed to change heading into a new decade of his life. He wanted to go in there strong, healthier, feeling better. And Parker absolutely crushed it. He lost 30 pounds in 71 days, and absolutely has been a rock star. He goes in and gets all these full body scans and blood work and all these corporate and executive tests. And his doctors are absolutely amazed because he's passing with flying colors there. So we got countless other stories. with people who have success with SprintSet, even including my wife. My wife, Eros, pre-diabetic, her A1C was high, and she went to her medical doctor, and the doctor finally said, "Is if you don't get this number down, I'm going to put you on the shot." And my wife did not want to do that. She wants to avoid drugs as much as possible, shots. She wanted to do it in an all natural way. So she said, "All right, Brandon, what's the name of that system?" My wife went all in. She lost 26 and a half pounds in 71 days. Went back to her medical doctor, and her A1C levels had dropped into a normal range. Quite frankly, her medical doctor was shocked at these results because it's not often, if ever, that he sees people go out, make lifestyle changes, and get healthier in a natural way versus just trying some quick fixes on relying on drugs and shots that you and I both know never fix the underlying root issue here. So let's talk about SprintSet a little bit deeper. Why is it so successful? Well, you got to understand your why. Why do you want this? Why do you want this? What impact by hitting your goal is this going to produce? Your why has to be so big. And we have to understand and get clear about your why so that you can do this, so that you have the inspiration, that you have the resiliency and the endurance to make this happen. And I know you can do it because I've seen other people do it and get healthier, get younger, and their energy explode through the roof. They're sleeping better. Their immune system is stronger. Their hormones are more stable. They're getting rid of the visceral fat. Their blood pressure numbers are improving. Their cholesterol numbers are improving. They're getting healthier. But when you come into the office, the first thing that we do is we sit down and we understand your why. Why are you doing this? Because this is going to carry you through and help see you to success. So we don't guess, we test, we measure your baseline metabolic markers. We track your improvements every step of the way. We give you the undeniable evidence of your progress. So you'll be able to see how you won't just be able to feel it, you'll feel it for sure, but you'll be able to see how your cellular health is improving here. You won't be guessing if it's working. You'll know that it's working, and absolutely, you do not have to do this alone. You do not have to try to figure this out by yourself anymore. With SprintSet, you get the strategic guidance and unwavering accountability of a dedicated SprintSet coach. It's also doctor supervised, so I'll be able to have optics into your progress along the way here too. We'll walk with you, showing you the path, helping you navigate the challenges and ensuring that you stay on track. And it's not about deprivation, it's about empowerment. It's about understanding your body, giving it what it needs, and finally stepping into a permanent control of your health. It's a beautiful gift, and it's a shift from endlessly chasing symptoms to building a foundation of true wellness. Within the SprintSet, it's all about whole food. So you'll be preparing and enjoying some incredible recipes. They have the recipes all laid out for you. And with the use of AI, you can be able to come up with some recipes of what you already have in your house. So if you don't see that you have all the ingredients of the proteins or veggies or fruits, healthy fats that you need, you just snap a photo to what you have, and SprintSet, the SprintSet system will be able to produce a recipe to what you have. So these are the outline of what you want to avoid and then add. You take a look on the left-hand side, we talked about the processed sugar that produces so much inflammation in the body. We talk about wheat and the gluten protein, but then also omega-3 fatty acids, the grains. Cows were meant to eat grass, not grain. So you got to look at your source of your protein and where you're getting them from. And there's so much in the news and in research today about the negative impacts of vegetable oils, which contain those omega-3 fatty acids, which produces cellular damage. And some of the latest research shows that it can take up to 2 years to get these oils out of your body. So just because you eat something today doesn't mean that there's not going to be an impact down the road, because there will be, and it takes time. But you want to avoid what's on the left, and you want to be thinking about adding more of what's on the right hand side, omega-3 fatty acids. So we'll talk you through what are the specific nutrients and supplements that you need to complement the whole food nutrition that you'll be consuming. You want cold water fatty fish, grass-fed meats, game, and free and range-fed eggs. Flax, hemp, walnuts are good. Avocado oil, coconut oil. It has MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, which is really great for brain fuel. Duck fat, beef tallow, grass-fed butter, ghee. These are all things that you'll be cooking with and consuming. In addition, you'll be creating time for movement. You do not need to do any crazy exercises, any intense exercise, things of that nature. What you'll be looking for is 30 minutes of walking a day. And it's okay if you need to divide it into 3 10-minute segments, but we're looking to, with SprintSet, creating good lifestyle habits, not only of what to eat, but when to eat, and creating rhythms and rituals around your eating, around your exercising and movement, and around your sleep patterns here. So also we'll be showing you the positive lifestyle choices to be making to help make your cells deficient and pure versus toxic and deficient. So let me restate that. Just want to make sure that I'm clear on it. We'll be showing you how to make your cells of your body through your lifestyle choices sufficient in the nutrients that you need and pure in the nutrients that you need, and how to avoid making toxic and deficient lifestyle choices that make your cells toxic and deficient. All right, easy for me to say. I think you understand what I just said there. And, food has an emotional connection. I'm raising both of my hands on this one because I had to face up to it and the impact that stress has on my well being, and then the cravings, the addictions, the pull towards these foods to mindlessly eat them, eat too many of them, eat late into the evening and into the nighttime, that just totally disrupts my metabolic health. We're going to teach you what to do to help you with that. And then also, you'll have the support to succeed with a dedicated SprintSet coach. That's all part of the SprintSet system here. Determining your ideal body weight, that'll be talked about during your consultation within the office when we sit down. We're going to be talking about your goals. We'll do a body composition analysis, and then we'll take a look at what is your ideal body weight that is going to bring you into the greatest amount of health and the greatest amount of happiness. Then we're going to talk about the foods that are not serving you. And then we're going to talk about the foods that will serve you better. And that will all be in alignment to your ultimate health and your results. And you ultimately are going to nourish your body with whole foods. This isn't a system where it's just you get all these prepackaged meals that have all these preservatives in them. They're not healthy. In fact, that they would end up making your cells in your body more toxic and deficient in the nutrients they need. This is all about food that God created, all whole foods. The baseline, bottom of the foundation are going to be vegetables, and we're going to be talking about a variety of different vegetables, color vegetables to help get your nutrients in, healthy, lean proteins, fruit, and then healthy fats for certain periods of the time here. We're going to talk about activities that you enjoy. Walking is fantastic. That's great. But maybe you enjoy dancing, maybe you like to lift weights, maybe you like yoga, maybe you like pickleball, something like that. There's a lot of ways that we can help improve your mobility, help improve your activity here. And it's important that we learn how to prioritize the sleep, because if we're not sleeping well, it disrupts our hormones in our body. We start getting cravings for sugar or carbs, and then we feed ourselves these things, and ultimately they don't have any nutritional value. They start then to work against us. They create more inflammation, and then the cycle continues because then it disrupts your sleep. You're not sleeping well, so on and so forth. We're going to be talking about habits and routines and disciplines to help minimize stress in your life. We can't get rid of all the stress in our life. Some stress is good, but we want to make sure that we learn to cope with and adapt to this stress in the best way possible. Making sure that we're staying hydrated, making sure that we're getting our minerals in, making sure that we avoid the stinking thinking, and really lean into faith over fear, those type of things. And this system here is really designed to produce the results that you're desiring to help you stay motivated. You're going to have more energy. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have less inflammation in your body. You're going to have less aches and pains and stiffness. You're going to have less brain fog. You're going to have a stronger immune system, so on and so forth. It's a beautiful journey. And it's really about the mindset. What it did for me is it changed the way that I thought about and looked at food. It put it in a much healthier frame and much healthier context for me. It quite literally did rewire my brain in the way that I was going about my day and my habits. So ultimately, at the end of the day, what is your next step here? Okay. So keep in mind, I will take some questions at the end. So in the chat box, make sure that you um, post your question in the chat box. Make sure you click everyone so I will be able to see it, and then I'll post this at the end. So what is your next step? Well, I put together a 6-step plan for you. Number one, you need an assessment to see where your current health markers are. We need to take a look at what is your visceral fat rating? What is your body fat percentage? What is your cellular hydration? What is your metabolic age, among other things? What does the meta-oxyurinalysis have to say about toxicity and deficiency and inflammation in your urine? So we need to get an assessment of these current health markers to know where we're starting at. And you can't hit a target if you don't know what the goal is. So we need to know, what is your goal? Why are you doing this? What's the big why behind it? And what does success look like? 71 days down the road, what does success look like? 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, what does success look like? Then we need an action plan. Ideas are great, implementation's even better. We have to take action to start to shift our behaviors to produce the outcomes that we want. And then we need to be tracking progress. So we need to be making sure that those habits are producing the results that we want. And as a chiropractor, what we do, we make adjustments. You need to make adjustments to your plan along your journey. What's working, what's not working, constantly refining things. You don't have to go at it alone. You'll be with a coach that'll be answering your questions along the way, helping to guide you during your journey. And it is doctor supervised. So I'll have optics into it. And if I need to make any recommendations, I'll make recommendations as appropriate. And then you just kind of rinse and repeat this until you achieve the level of health you need to resist disease and to live a life according to the image that has been placed on your heart of who you are and who you desire to be. So, what are your first steps here? Well, you need to schedule your complimentary consultation with me at the office. Okay, so we do this at the office at Pure Chiropractic. We discover your why. This includes your body composition analysis. This is all part of the SprintSet body system system assessment, which includes the meta-oxy urinalysis. We're going to measure your health markers. We're going to see if we're on track or off track. We're going to report that back to you. So you'll get a report of your body system assessment. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to strategize together how to help your goals. What makes the most sense with SprintSet for you? Does that all make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense to you. So what I'd like to do here, let's see here. Let me go back. Just going to take a moment here, and I want to, okay. I'm going to stop this share for a moment. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go to my schedule, and I'm going to go ahead and post my schedule into the Zoom chat. So let me get back here. Okay. All right. So you should see it now within the webinar chat feature. There's a scheduler, and we have limited spaces available for tomorrow, for Saturday, and early next week. So it's first come, first serve. When you click on there, it'll ask for your name, your email, your phone number, and then you pick a slot that works best for you here. Please, if you have any questions about that, put them into the chat and I'll do my best to answer that. So if you're tired of the lies, tired of the quick fixes that lead nowhere, and ready to finally reclaim your health, energy, and true identity, then this is my invitation for you. This isn't another promise. It's a proven path. It's a system that helped me and countless others break free from those self-sabotaging patterns and step into a life of vitality without drugs, shots, or surgery. Today, I'm inviting you to discover how SprintSet Energizing Weight Loss System can transform your life. For those ready to take control, we're offering a special opportunity. Come into our clinic for a comprehensive consultation and body composition analysis. This isn't just a chat, it's where we'll dive deep into your unique physiology, understand your current metabolic state, and show you exactly how SprintSet will work for you. During the session, we'll outline a personalized strategy, answer all your questions, and if it's the right fit, we'll get you started on your own SprintSet weight loss program. This is your chance to stop guessing, stop struggling, and start building a healthier, stronger, fitter version of yourself you know you're meant to be. This is the next step to becoming healthier, stronger, and fitter as an individual who truly is in control of their health and destiny. This is your opportunity to finally put an end to the yo-yo, the frustration, and the fear, and embrace a life of lasting wellness. The time for excuses, it's over. The time for guessing is over. The time for hoping it just goes away is over. Your transformation, well, it begins now. So make a decision. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you are in control of your health care decisions. But I want you to consider for a moment looking back and looking ahead 6 months from now, and the regret that you might feel for not taking action, knowing that you could have done something to improve your life, to get healthier, to get stronger. I also want you to think 6 months from now, committing, going all in, the amount of strength, energy, vitality, endurance, health, stamina, well-being that you'll achieve by making a commitment to yourself and going all in. Now's the time to take action. So get out your phone, take a look at the chat box. There's a link there. Click on the link, put in your name, email address, phone number, and click the time slot that works best for you. We have a couple slots tomorrow, Saturday, and then next week. Let's schedule a time for you to come into the office, get the SprintSet body composition analysis. Let's sit down and see what we could do to help you with your 2026 health and wellness goals and help you become the best version of yourself. A wise doctor once told me, the thief of health, 6 words, maybe it will just go away. Your goals, your future self, comes down to a decision, simple decision, saying yes. And what's the cost of inaction? What's the cost of another year stuck? Or giving up on this new identity? The choice ultimately, it's yours. I want to thank you for your time and intention for being here during this webinar, and I look forward to seeing you and helping you within the office. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much.